Hello and welcome to my work and finance class. Today's topic is work-life balance. Our goal today is to set up a work-life balance plan so that we can achieve great things and live life to the fullest. So while we're together today, we'll explore what's at the root of our work-life imbalances. We'll consider what both workaholics and slackers have in common. We'll identify your full spectrum of goals, align conflicting goals, and then create work-life balance rules to live by. So let's start by considering what both workaholics and slackers have in common. So people who work a lot tend to be labeled workaholics. And then people who tend to like to relax a lot tend to be labeled slackers. But they're not all that different. In fact, they have a lot of values in common. So here's what workaholics and slackers both have in common. They care. So the so-called workaholics, they care about their quality of life, their family's quality of life. They care about the experiences they'll enjoy, the legacy that they will leave, and they see work as the way to make those things happen that they care about. And then the so-called slackers, they care about their quality of life, their family's quality of life. They care about the experiences that they'll enjoy. They care about their legacy that they'll leave, and they see their personal life as the way to have those things that they care about. So, not all that different after all, just different methodologies. So let's take a second to identify our full spectrum of goals. So we have various goals. We have work-life goals and we have personal life goals. So let's identify your full spectrum of goals. We're going to go ahead and grab a pen and paper, and we're going to draw a line down the center of the page, right in the middle, from top to bottom. And on the top left, write work life. And on the top right, write personal life. So under work life, write 3 to 5 work-life goals. 3 to 5 work-life goals. And this could be career, entrepreneurship, financial stability, volunteering. And then under personal life, write 3 to 5 main goals. 3 to 5 main personal life goals. And that could be parenting, being a loving spouse, being a close friend. It might be traveling, maybe entertainment. So work-life balance, it's different for everyone. It doesn't always have to be 50-50 in order to feel balanced for you. So let's write a little bit on another sheet of paper to get an idea of what percentage of your time and your life that you'd like to spend with work-life priorities versus personal life priorities. So write, pressure says this amount. Pressure says this amount. And you'll write maybe 50% work life, 50% personal life. It could be whatever you feel like you're pressured to do. Then below that, write, I want this amount. I want this amount. And it might be 10% work life and 90% personal life, or vice versa. It's totally up to you of what you would actually like to see. So now let's take a moment to reflect and to estimate what amount would you need to meet your minimum financial goals and your minimum personal goals. We're going to write that underneath the last 2 percentages that you wrote, and you can write, I'm okay with this amount, because it might be somewhere in the middle. I'm okay with this amount. So maybe they're 30% work life and 70% personal life. And we're going to label this last one your work-life balance percentage goal. This is the goal that you want to get to. So it's somewhere in between what the world's pressuring you to do, what you really want to do, and what really makes the most sense for you to do. So now that we have our work-life balance percentage goal, let's consider what's at the root of our work-life imbalances. So there are admirable goals on both sides with our work life and our personal life, but when we overextend our time and our efforts, things can be thrown off balance either way. So let's find out what's at the root of our work-life imbalances. So we'll number these 1 through 4. So under your work-life goals list, on that column that has work-life goals, in that column underneath of what you've written already, write the subtitle, Work-Life Imbalance Root. work-life imbalance route. And then write number one. Number one is going to be, sometimes I spend too much time on work-life goals because blank. Sometimes I spend too much time on work-life goals because blank. And you can fill in the blank later if you don't have something now, that's okay. It might be something like, because I'm great at what I do, or I love what I do. It could be, I'm in the productivity zone. It could be that, I have work metrics to meet, or I have to earn more money, or maybe I want to save more money. So directly under that, write number two. And number two is, sometimes I spend too little time on work-life goals because blank. So sometimes I spend too little time on work-life goals because blank. Maybe there's just not enough hours available. Maybe you don't feel inspired, or maybe you just don't like the job and would rather be doing something else. Now, under your personal life goals list, under that side of the things you wrote earlier, write personal life imbalance route. Personal life imbalance route. And then write number three. Number three is, sometimes I spend too much time on personal life goals because. Sometimes I spend too much time on personal life goals because. And then blank. It's a blank. You fill in the blank. So it could be that family and friends are more important to you. It could be that traveling is more important to you. Maybe that experiencing entertainment is more important to you. Or maybe you just feel like you just need to relax. And then directly under that, please write number four. Number four is, sometimes I spend too little time on personal life goals because blank. Sometimes I spend too little time on personal life goals because blank. It could be that you just don't have that many friends and family to spend personal time with. It could be that friends and family relationships are too stressful or too emotional. Maybe it's that you feel like you can't really enjoy the entertainment at this point in time, or maybe it's that your personal life, you just feel like it's just boring. All right, so let's analyze this data. And now that we can see clearly what's at the root of our work-life imbalances, let's take a moment to study our data and see what we've got. So look at your answers for numbers 1 and 2. Numbers 1 and 2. So which one of these is you most of the time? Is it that you're working too much on work-life responsibilities or too little on work responsibilities? Circle the number that's you most of the time. Now look at your answers for numbers 3 and 4 and see which one is most you all the time over here as well. So are you usually putting in too much time for your personal life or too little time for personal life? Circle the one that is you most of the time. So let's look at the two numbers that you circled. There's a couple of different scenarios. So if you find that work life and personal life are both low priorities, then there's no conflicts, but life can feel a little dry. If work life and personal life are both high priorities, they can absolutely begin to conflict with each other. If work life is a high priority and personal life is a low priority, then work life is free to dominate all of your time. And then if personal life is a high priority and work life is a low priority, then personal life is free to dominate the majority of your time. If it does, then great, you're on the right track. If not, that's okay. We're about to start working on aligning conflicting goals. So here are some ways that you can align conflicting goals. All right, so under everything you've written in that work-life balance column, you want to write work-life rules to live by. Work-life rules to live by. And on the other side, underneath of the personal life column, at the very bottom, under everything you've written so far, write personal life rules to live by. So I'm going to share a few tips with you. If you hear a tip that you think could help you maintain your work-life balance, then add it to your rules list to live by. So in order to reduce the time and effort spent on your work life, try reducing the need to work, A few ways to do this is lowering the expenses so that you can decrease your hours. You can also increase your income if you're able to, so that you can make just as much in way less hours. You can also consider setting stricter work-life time limits, and you can let go of perfectionism, let good enough be enough, so that you can stop and just rest. All right, so if you want to increase the time and effort that you spend on your work life, then try setting aside chunks of time that are allocated to work and nothing else. It's also worth the effort to find or create a career that you truly enjoy. It also even helps to plan personal life goals that will inspire you to want to work harder to make sure that those things are possible. All right, so to reduce the amount of time that you spend on your personal life, try, instead of having your schedule wide open, to designate a few specific days and times to relax, to travel, for quality time, for friends and family, and for free time for yourself. Sticking to only those times, those designated times, and making the most of those hours and those days. To increase the time and effort that you spend on your personal life, try adding a time in your schedule to schedule things to have fun. So you can also plan a certain number of outings for each week. So you can have a goal of 3 outings per week, 7 outings per week, whatever it might be, and try to hit that number. You can invite a certain number of people over each month. Put it on the calendar. They're expecting to come over. You have to stop. You have to have fun. You can also enjoy free entertainment. You can mend old relationships if you are in need of more family and friends to interact with during personal time. And you can join groups or even start groups to make new friends. All right, so I'd love to know, how did you enjoy today's class and what questions do you have for me? You can let me know in the comments below, or if you'd like, you can save your questions for support group or for coaching. Either way, I look forward to supporting you on your journey. All right, thanks again for attending. Have a blessed day. Hello, and welcome to my work and finance class. Today's topic is to lower expenses. So our goal for today is to plan ways to lower your expenses so that you can keep more of what you earn and build wealth more quickly. So I just want to make a note now so you can grab it. Please grab a pencil, paper, and a calculator. So while we're together today, we'll estimate how much wealth we actually keep each month. We'll consider ways to comfortably reduce our expenses. We'll look into considering alternative ways to live that can lower our expenses. We'll create some expense lowering goals, and we'll designate the use of reclaimed income so that it's not eaten up by something else. So first, we're going to start by estimating our wealth that we keep each month. All right, so grab that pencil, paper, and calculator and draw 2 vertical lines so that you have thirds on your page. So 2 vertical lines so you have thirds on your page. So on the top left, write monthly income. And at the top of the center column, write monthly expenses. And on the top right, write total saved each month. Total saved each month. All right, we're going to start with monthly income. So under monthly income, write how much you earn on average each month from each job that you have. Don't add it up yet. Don't add it up just yet. Just leave it for now, and we'll do that later. So how much you make from each job each month. This is just a ballpark. Now, under monthly expenses, write how much you spend on average each month on things like your rent, your mortgage, your BGE bill or car bill, groceries. For simplicity, just estimate and just kind of put together all the different things that are entertainment, like movies, sports and games, restaurants. Just put that underneath entertainment and just have a ballpark for that. And still, don't add these things up yet. We're just going to leave it for now, and we'll do that in a moment. All right, so draw a straight line under what you have so far, under the numbers you have so far, and go ahead and add that up. And once you have your totals, just put a square or rectangle around your total. And you're going to have a total for column 1 and a total for column 2. Let's go ahead and subtract your expenses from your income. So subtract your expenses from your income, and then write the amount that you have left over in column 3. the amount you have left over in column 3. And you can label that amount that you have left over each month as current monthly savings total. Current monthly savings total. So let's just put it into perspective. This is how much wealth you actually keep each month. No matter how much you earn or how little you earn, this is how much you actually keep each month. Are you pleasantly surprised? Displeased? If it's less than you'd like for it to be, that can be very difficult because you worked really hard for that. You spent hours of your day. You had to do things that you maybe didn't want to do. You had to spend time that you may not have wanted to spend. And it can be hard to come and notice and see that even though you earned all this bank, all this money, that you have very little left at the end of it that really is something that you get to, play with, something you get to kind of not just play with, but build with, that you get to save and kind of have that wealth left over. So now that we have a rough estimate of how much wealth we actually keep each month, let's run the numbers on some ways to actually comfortably reduce our expenses. First, let's set up your page. So under your monthly income total, write comfortable savings items. Comfortable savings items. And these could be things that you can add in whatever you want to add in. It could be things like at restaurants, drinking water instead of juice or soda, because water is free. You can also reduce how often you go to restaurants. Having off-brand clothes and shoes for things that don't matter, like socks. And for movies, you could do only matinee movies. So under your monthly total expenses column, now you want to write comfortable savings amount. Comfortable savings amount. And this is the amount that you could save comfortably each month for each item. So draw a straight line under that from edge to edge and add them all up. And then label that total comfortable monthly savings total. Comfortable monthly savings total. So this is how much more wealth you could be comfortably saving each month. Better? Or still not enough? So those other ways were comfortable ways. Now let's consider some alternative ways of living that can lower your expenses even more. So under your I could spend less list, write aggressive savings items. Aggressive savings items. And this could be cutting out certain things altogether. You could completely cut out restaurants. You could completely cut out entertainment, that car payment, maybe even childcare or rent. You'd have to get creative, obviously, but those things are possible. So once you total up all the things that you think you could aggressively eliminate from your budget, then write aggressive savings total. This is where you're aggressively each month reducing your expenses significantly or by completely getting rid of that expense. So draw a straight edge underneath of those items from edge to edge and now total that. Total all those things that you could aggressively save by eliminating and add all that up. And the total that you get, that's your maximum monthly savings total. Your maximum monthly savings total. This is the maximum wealth that you could keep each month if you were willing to alter your lifestyle. It's a lot, right? So it's helpful to create an expense lowering goal. So now that we can see how much extra that we could save by altering our ways of living, let's pull from those potential ideas and choose what we'll aim to try to save on in the coming weeks and months. But before you decide, let's do one more thing. Let's look at column 3 and multiply your current monthly savings total times 12. Let's multiply also that comfortable monthly savings total times 12. And let's multiply your aggressive savings total by 12. The answers you get is how much you could save by sticking to that monthly savings amount for a year. Take a look at how much more wealth you could build. When you realize that, when you see that, then you might be more willing to save that much each month. All right, so now that you can see the long-term savings potential for each option, look over your comfortable savings items and amounts and your aggressive saving amounts. All right, so we can kind of put all these together. We're gonna put together the aggressive and the comfortable savings amount. So we're gonna circle the items in the comfortable savings amount that we want to carry over and the items for the aggressive savings amount. So we're going to add that all together, and this is going to be your expense lowering goal. So once you have a total, we add it all together, this is your expense lowering goal. And of course, just for fun, multiply that goal times 12 to calculate your yearly goal. Now, whether your new expense lowering goal is $5,000 a month, $500 a month, or $5 a month, any amount saved regularly will increase your wealth. So it's really vitally important to designate the use of the reclaimed income. So now that we know how much we'll be saving by sticking with our new expense goals, we want to make sure that we designate exactly what that's going to be for. What is that money that we're saving going to be for? Is it going to be for a monthly bouquet of flowers for yourself? Is it going to be for a new mani-pedi? Is it going to be a monthly day trip that you want to save for? Maybe a weekend trip? Or will you let it accumulate so that you can use it for more ambitious interests? Maybe a quarterly weekend trip or a quarterly home improvement project. Or maybe it can be for a yearly cruise. Will you let it accumulate even more? For 2 years? 5 years? 20 years? Now keep in mind, we can't spend the same dollar twice. So avoid designating the same dollar amount for two different uses. Once you really get to saving these things, don't just not go to the restaurant. Actually take time to transfer that amount in your bank account into your savings to make sure that it's not eaten up by something else unintentionally. It's also good to keep in mind that life is still happening right now. So make sure that whatever you do, whatever you choose to do with your savings, that you're still living to the fullest now. And it may not need to be at a restaurant that you're living to the fullest. Maybe you just go to the grocery store and get some fresh fruit and sit and have a picnic outside. So enjoy the sunset, enjoy the breeze, and enjoy the free things in life. And treat yourself to the fruits of your savings other times too. So I'd love to know, how did you enjoy today's class, and what questions do you have for me? You can always let me know in the comments below, or if you'd like, you can save your questions for support group or for coaching. Either way, I look forward to supporting you along your journey. Thank you again for attending, and I hope you have a blessed day. Hello, and welcome to my work and finance class. Today's topic is increase income. Our goal today is to plan ways to increase your income so that you can build wealth more easily. So please, when you can, get a pencil, some paper, and a calculator. While we're together today, we'll discuss creative ways to increase your income, ensure that our plans don't come with a hidden cost, and we'll also create wealth increasing goals and timelines. All right, we're gonna start with those wealth increasing goals. So first, let's set up your paper, draw a vertical line down the center and a horizontal line across the center. So you're gonna have 4 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the top left quadrant, write wealth increase goals. Wealth increase goals. On the top right quadrant, write avoid these. Avoid these. On the bottom left quadrant, write consider these. Consider these. And on the bottom right quadrant, write try this month. Try this month. So now let's consider our wealth increasing goals. It's important to know how much you want and how much time you are willing to spend to get what you want. That way you know if it's actually worth your while. Write these sentences in your wealth increase goals quadrant and leave the blanks empty for now. So write down, I'm comfortable working blank more hours each day. I'm comfortable working blank more hours each day. And then keep going by writing blank days of a week. So it's just gonna look like I'm comfortable working blank more hours each day, blank days a week. Now write, I aim to earn. Again, that's I aim to earn. Now under that, write blank more this year. Then write blank more each month. Blank more each week. Blank more each day, and then blank more each hour. So under your I aim to earn list, we're going to start filling those in. First, we're going to start with the weekly goal, which could be like $5 more each week or $500 more each week. Then we can use that in order to get the other pieces of information. So we can multiply our weekly goal times 4 to get our monthly goal. Then we can multiply that same weekly goal times 52 to get our yearly goal. There's 52 weeks in a year. And then we can divide that weekly goal by the number of days that you want to work each week. So say you want to work 5 days a week, just divide that weekly goal by 5. Now divide your weekly goal by the number of hours that you want to work. And divide your weekly goal by the number of hours that you want to work each week. So be sure to fill in all the blanks that we wrote before and the sentence before. So it's time to get creative and find that side hustle that fits your needs. Here are some creative ways to help you get there, to help you increase your income. So if you hear a tip that you think can help you meet your wealth increase goals, then add it to your consider this list, that quadrant that says consider this. And I'll be sure to share the negatives of each one too. So if the negatives would make that undesirable to you, then add that to your avoid these list. Avoid these list. All right, so there's delivery. There are variations of deliveries. There's pizza delivery. There's Uber and Lyft. Everybody knows there's Grubhub. And there is scooter recharge. And there is RV transport. You could also do like moving and hauling to deliver things for companies, for businesses. It's a little bit more of like a bigger ticket items. The income potential for this depends on which app you're using or which service you're working for. But obviously, the bigger ticket items that you move, the more you're probably going to be paid for it. And especially if you have something like a car or a truck or something that you can buy or rent or whatnot, that can also help to raise that amount as well. And with RV transports, those are actually very lucrative. Those can be about $1 a mile. So if you're driving 1,000 miles to drop off someone's RV, well, then you just got $1,000. So the hours for delivery jobs are usually going to be very irregular. You're basically just waiting for someone to need a delivery, and it's kind of like a hurry up and wait type of situation. So the hidden costs are the mileage and the wear and tear on any leased vehicles or your personal vehicle. And if the delivery service requires you to be in your car for the majority of the day, that can also be a wear and tear on your body. I know you're not moving much, but it's not great for our bodies to be sedentary for long periods of time. All right, then there's investing. There are different variations on investing. So you can go old school and invest in the stock market. You can go new school and invest in Bitcoin. You can do sports bets. If you're into sports, start betting on sports. So the income potential for investing, it varies, but it is something that takes, that usually the investments have to grow over time. The hours to expect really just depend on how much research you need to do in order to make a good investment. And the hidden cost for this one is that there's usually more hours than you think that you'd have to do for research. You also risk losing everything if you're not careful and if you don't set an amount that's a minimum amount that you don't want to go below. Gambling can be a problem, so we don't want to get addicted. Then there's online work. There are different variations for online work. Some people will do surveys for a few dollars for each survey. There's Fiverr, where you can earn a few dollars helping somebody with something that they need virtually. You could read for an audiobook to be the narrator for an audiobook. They're selling digital products that can help other people out. As far as income potential, there is a high earning potential for online work, but it is commensurate to how many people you're able to reach and able to help. As far as the hours to expect, there are a lot of upfront hours that would need to be invested in order to make sure that you are able to get yourself out there. For things like selling digital products, though, once those are complete, there's very little time investment necessary after that, especially if you set it up to be automated where a person can just purchase from your page and then just have the stuff just emailed directly to them digitally. Either way, you'll want to make sure that you take into account How much time is needed to ensure that your online services and products are easily found by the people that you hope to help? And the hidden cost. There's not really much hidden cost for online work except for the fact that you might need to invest in a few professional applications in order to provide professional items. Now that you have a few ideas under your Consider These quadrant, circle the ideas that you'd like to try and add them to your Try This Month list. Whatever you try, make sure that it will make a significant increase so that it's worth the effort. Make sure that it will fulfill your wealth increase goals. And if you have the time or the energy, you can do 2 things to double your earning potential. The Bible says to invest in 7 ventures, yes, 8, because you don't know which one will succeed, whether this one or that. Make sure to set a start goal. And I encourage you to aim to set up and be ready by this time next week. Now I know that's a pretty fast turnaround time, but remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done. Important. It's really important to designate why and when you will stop. So under what circumstances will you stop moving towards this side hustle? Is it going to be if you don't earn as much as you hoped? Is it going to be after 1 month if things aren't really moving? Is it after you've hit your savings goal? Will it be if and when you ever dread doing that thing? This is to prevent yourself from staying too long in a low profit money making venture. And I suggest setting an alarm that'll go off each week that says, is this venture meeting your goals? And if it turns out to be unprofitable, it's never a fail. It's always an opportunity to filter out the conflicts and get closer to exactly what will work for you. All right, I appreciate your attending, and I hope you have a blessed day. Hello, and welcome to my Work and Finance class. Today's topic is to embrace an entrepreneurship mindset. So our goal for today is to embrace an entrepreneurship mindset, to envision life beyond the norm, and to create a business that aligns with our goals. While we're together today, we'll cover types of entrepreneurship. We will look at common startup mistakes. We'll talk about aligning your business with your values and your calling to best help others. And also we'll talk about creating a business around your schedule and your goals in life. And of course, we'll talk about being successful and making a positive impact. So there are different types of entrepreneurship, but they're all similar in that they're all a way to help us to serve and help others while also creating our own work-life balance. So you could offer a product, different products like cupcakes, t-shirts, or books. You could offer services, things that you do, such as cleaning, hauling, or maybe tutoring. And then within these 2 areas, you could have online items or in-person items. Online items like digital downloads or maybe like a live or pre-recorded class. Or you could choose to do in-person, where you might need a brick and mortar location, such as a library, your own business location, or perhaps your client's home. So regardless of the type of business, there are some common startup mistakes. So having the wrong motives is a big startup mistake. So some of us might want to come in thinking, well, I don't want to work for the man. But if we really take a second to think about it, with any business, you are going to be working for someone else, whether it be for your client or even for your social media followers. You're working to help and serve somebody. So you're still working for the man, it's just a different man. So another big startup mistake is having a business that's really more self-focused than about serving the people. Without seeing the people, we don't see the need. And if we don't see the need, then how can that business be truly helpful, be truly marketable, and be truly successful? So the best practice then is to be people-focused, to see and meet the need. Another huge startup mistake is not counting the cost. So there's a scripture where Jesus is talking clearly about salvation, and he uses an example because it was obvious even back then. So Jesus actually encourages us to count the cost, lest we be like a man who sets off to build something but can't finish because he didn't count the cost and make sure he had enough to begin with, and now everybody's laughing. So it's interesting though that he would have that scripture as like an obvious, but that's something that still even now we do today. It seems obvious, but sometimes we can just be so excited and just jump right in without really taking time to count the costs, not just the financial cost, but also the time cost. So yeah, still some side hustles can start without calculating the time much that we would need and how much money would be needed to invest and how much storage space we would need before we begin production and how much space we would need to store our inventory, the fees and the expenses that it would cost to run the business. So by running all these numbers first, businesses can anticipate and avoid the complications. That is a huge, very important step. So please, let's make sure that we are running the numbers first to count the cost. Another big startup mistake is not being prepared for success. So similar to counting the cost, it's really important to know that the business can handle complete success. So if a business owner hopes to make and sell 100 large items from her home for $7 each and wants to earn $700 a week, she'll have to first ask herself, do I really have the time and the space to make that many each week? And even if she can, she has to consider, will that be the quality of life that she's looking for? If not, then she has to have a blow-up plan. So if things were to blow up, if things were to be very successful, for example, setting up a ready-to-implement plan where she already knows which company she can go to both create, house, and to distribute her products for her. That way, if her business were to just take off, she can still maintain good customer service, she can maintain her customer satisfaction, and can easily implement that plan and be ready to receive all that success. So it's helpful to align our gifts with our values as well. So let's reflect on our gifts and our callings to see how we can help. So grab your pen and paper and draw a line down the center on a different sheet of paper. On the top left, write gifts and values. Gifts and values. And on the top right, write schedule and goals. Schedule and goals. All right, so under gifts and values, write the following sentences and fill in the blank. So write, people tell me I'm good at blank. People tell me I'm good at blank. Now write, it's important to me to never offer something that blank. It's important to me to never offer something that blank. So taking those two sentences into consideration, use what you're gifted at to help others in a way that also aligns with your values too. All right, so let's do our best to align our schedule with our goals. So let's consider our ideal schedule and see how much time we can offer to help. So under schedule and goals, write the following sentences and fill in those blanks as well. So write, no matter how busy I get, I always want to have blank, each blank for blank. No matter how busy I get, I always want to have blank, each blank for blank. And this could be that no matter how busy I get, I always want to have 4 hours each night with my family, or 3 hours each week for church, or 2 hours each month for my hair appointment. So now choose creative ways to build your business around your schedule. Find creative ways to be as helpful to as many people as you can within the hours that you have designated. We want to make sure that we keep our prices reasonable, never charging any higher than you or your poorest family member would be able to afford. We want to make sure that we offer good customer service, that we check our emails and respond quickly, be humble and apologize if we have a little error, and give refunds. Retention is important. Make sure that you don't just take their money and run or leave them high and dry. Make sure that you're actually building a relationship and that you can be there for them to help and assist them in the future as well. And make sure that you're adding value. Make sure that whatever you're offering, whatever you're sharing, that it's truly helpful and really adds a great amount of value to people's lives. So you may have noticed earlier that I said that my family and I, we live with 12 healthy habits in order to enjoy a better quality of life. So then work and finance is just one of the 12. We embrace all these healthy habits so that there'll be less bad habits to sabotage our efforts to obey God and more good habits to help support our efforts as we aim to live and do all that Yahweh called us to do. For work and finance, as well as for each one of the 12 habits, I offer guidance via workbooks, videos, classes, and support groups to help you implement and stick with each habit. So if you could use any more guidance with this or any of the 12 habits, I'm here to guide you. And you can find more details on my website, which is trulythrivinglives.org. All right, so I'd love to know, how did you enjoy today's class and what questions do you have for me? You can let me know in the comments below, or if you'd like, you can save your questions for support group or for coaching. Either way, I look forward to supporting you along your journey. All right, thank you again for attending. Have a blessed day.